What's up everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video. Today, we're taking a look at some of the big games for 2020 on the Nintendo Switch and if they'll have enough to compete with the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox. Nintendo has these things called Nintendo Directs, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of them. They're pretty popular, where they announce new games. So keep in mind that there's going to be a lot more games announced, there's going to be a lot more things to come to Nintendo Switch, but what I wanted to do was look at the already announced games, go over some of the stuff that I'm excited for, and talk about some of the games that don't have a release date but could drop in 2020. Let's start off with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. I've been learning a lot about the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon franchise ever since they announced this because I'll be honest, I never played the games beforehand. I think I played a demo or something inside GameStop years and years and years ago and never thought about it again, but they're back. March 6th, it's coming out. These are remakes of the original 2006 releases of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team for the Game Boy Advance and the Mystery Dungeon titles for the Nintendo DS. That's pretty cool. I like the fact that they went back, got some of those games that really are core staples in the Mystery Dungeon franchise, bringing them over to the Nintendo Switch, and look at this absolutely beautiful art style that this game has. That's what got me interested in it. It just looks like a pop-up storybook. I'm all down for that, so I'm definitely going to check out this game when it comes to Nintendo Switch. And I heard in this game that you can actually befriend Pokemon. That's awesome as well. Next up is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This game looks absolutely beautiful. From the first time that I saw it at E3, I was thinking, you're not really doing much in this game when it comes to action and combat and all that, but that's not what Animal Crossing is about. It's about relaxing, it's about fishing, it's about planting stuff, it's about living life, it's about organizing stuff. It's about just doing a bunch of stuff to where you get stuff to where you can do more stuff. It seems like Animal Crossing is about that. And you know what? I have time for that. Whenever I do make time to do stuff, to get other stuff so I can do stuff, I'm definitely going to check out Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch. And they have that brand new special edition that's looking really good that sent fans into a tizzy. So I think that Animal Crossing New Horizons is going to do very well when it launches on March 20th. Next up is a game that I'm probably the most excited for, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Words cannot express how excited I am for this game, but I'm gonna do my best to portray it in this video for you guys. This is one of the best RPGs ever made, and it's easily the best RPG on the Nintendo Wii, and probably the best RPG when it comes to 7th generation, for me at least. Lost Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, both of those are pretty good. 7th generation had some nice RPGs, but those two sit at the top for me. But getting back to Xenoblade, this game's gonna have awesome graphics. It looks like they've completely touched up everything in this game. It looks so much better from the small snippets of gameplay that we've seen from what they had originally. Shulk actually has like a lot of pixels on his face. It's not blurry anymore when it comes to some of the scenes in there, and the game actually has clarity with the backgrounds. Now, yes, they did everything they could when it comes to the Wii. It's very impressive on the Wii, considering what that system has under the hood, but it's absolutely amazing looking on the Nintendo Switch. So this is going to be a full-scale game, everything that we saw, and they're even going to add some more based off of that trailer that we had. So if you have not played a Xenoblade game, this is definitely the time to kind of hop into it when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch. The latest rumors have this game releasing around May, but no matter when it releases, I know I'm going to be getting it and I'm going to be playing the heck out of it on this channel. Next up that's confirmed for 2020 is No More Heroes 3, and this might be one of the weirdest games when it comes to the initial trailers and what they've shown off. That Game Awards trailer had me completely fooled on what this game was going to be. I thought it was going to be Ni no Kuni, and if you've played Ni no Kuni and No More Heroes are like nothing alike. They couldn't be further apart from each other, and that's what this trailer had me thinking, was that it was going to be a Ni no Kuni game. So just based off of that, you can clearly tell that this game is going to be absolutely nuts, and the No More Heroes franchise is known just for that, being crazy, fighting crazy bosses in crazy situations, and having this crazy otaku guy Travis Touchdown do all sorts of amazing wrestling moves and beam saber combos. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot, and Suda51 finally gets his big debut on a Nintendo HD system, because we didn't see anything on the Wii U. So we finally get something on the Nintendo Switch here with No More Heroes 3. That's confirmed for 2020. No actual date just yet, but I think it's going to be really good when it launches. All right, let's move on to the mystery games here that could launch in 2020. Let's start off with Yokai Watch 4. This is a game that had a little bit of trouble in Japan meeting the expectations of what it did previously in the franchise on the Nintendo 3DS, but it's still a solid game, and I do think that Nintendo is going to have a localization for that game this year. At least I'm hoping so. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get these Yokai Watch games localized than usual, but Nintendo has been helping out on the Nintendo 3DS. Yokai Watch 4 absolutely looks amazing. The game reviewed well. It is a change up from what the franchise was before with turn-based gameplay. They moved over to an action RPG system, and it does look like it's a lot of fun. So we'll see when Yokai Watch 4 launches, and we'll also see when Level 5 decides to put out Inazuma 11 Aries, because that game still isn't even out yet. Next up, Bayonetta 3 on the Nintendo Switch. And I talked about Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition being my most anticipated game. Well, this one is right up there with that, because Bayonetta to me has been the gold standard in action games post Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry was always the #1 action game to me in terms of stylish action, right? Where you're air comboing. Well, Devil May Cry and also God of War. Those were the games for me. But when Bayonetta came out, I absolutely put those aside and said, this is the new #1. This is the All Might of action, stylish action games where you're comboing people and shooting them with the guns and doing all that crazy stuff. This is it, because Bayonetta to me does things so much better than so many other action games. The controls, the fluidity, the combos, the weapons, everything in Bayonetta is always top notch. Bayonetta 2 even surpassed my own lofty expectations with the multiplayer and how it ties into the single player and just how the combat works and the bosses. Everything was just so fluid. So I'm really hyped and excited for Bayonetta 3, and hopefully we get a release date for 2020. This game is going on its 3rd year, being announced by the end of the year, so I think we're going to see something this year, but we have no confirmation as of now. But I think it's happening with Platinum Games. They've teased how they're going to have a big year, and I think this is the year to drop Bayonetta 3. Next up, Metroid Prime 4, and I know what you guys are thinking. There's no way this game comes out in 2020, and I'll be honest, I don't think so. I don't think this game is coming out in 2020 either, but maybe we finally get the first look of the game, because the last time that we saw Metroid Prime 4, well, it was saying that the game was delayed, but then we got a title screen before that in 2017. So we had a title screen, then we had a delay. So 3rd time is a charm, I like to say, and this time we are going to see a new trailer for the game and Metroid Prime Trilogy. That's probably the game, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD that is, that's more likely to come out this year, which is going to lead into probably next year for Metroid Prime 4. But Metroid Prime Trilogy, that has a high possibility of coming out this year, because I think it's been done. I honestly feel that Nintendo is somewhat sitting on this game because of the situation with Metroid Prime 4 and what happened with Bandai Namco. I think they're sitting on this one like they sat on New Super Mario Bros. And other games as well. So I think it's going to happen with Metroid Prime Trilogy. They're sitting on that game, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, and then Metroid Prime 4 for next year. But we get the first trailer this year, and maybe Metroid Prime Trilogy this year on the Nintendo Switch. Last but definitely not least is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. Now, I personally believe that Nintendo is aiming for a 2020 release. The reason why I believe that is because they announced the game last year at E3. So at this point, at E3, that would be 1 year. And if the game is a fall title, 1 year, 5-6 months, that is plenty of time beforehand to announce the game and kind of get the hype going and people talking about it and everything. I don't think Nintendo would announce it that early if the game was going to come out like 2 or 3 years later. Now, in game development, anything can happen, right? Especially with the game that's as big as Legend of Zelda, and there are some new rumors pointing that maybe that game is going to be a 2021 release, but you never know. Things can change dynamically. The development atmosphere could be way better, or things could be fast-tracked a bit more from what we've seen, so we'll have to wait and see. Nintendo has not announced the release date for it, so it still could be. There is no one definitive way or another. It's going to be 2020 or 2021 or 2022. We don't know. I just know that they announced it in 2019, and Nintendo's been pretty good at announcing games relatively close to when we're going to get them when it comes to their first party titles. Super Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles, Splatoon 2. There's so many games where they announced and released in a somewhat decent time period and didn't wait like 2+ years or something like that for it to release. Now they could completely hang on to this game, wait for next year, and maybe it launches with new hardware or something like that, or maybe it launches on the anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 1. Maybe they decide to wait till March. You never know with this one. This game's gonna sell whenever it comes out, but it could be the big holiday game. But if they wanted to take more time on it, or if it has to be 2021, that's no problem at all. I personally believe that with all of the games that Nintendo already has on the market, plus all the games that haven't been announced yet, plus the games that I mentioned today, Nintendo has more than enough firepower with the prices of the Nintendo Switch to compete completely with the next Xbox and also the PlayStation 5. Games are always going to be what makes a system sell, and I think that there's enough room for all three consoles on the market. PlayStation's going to come out, it's going to be hype. There's going to be plenty of cool stuff to play. Next Xbox is going to come out, it's going to be hype. There's going to be plenty of stuff to play. They're going to have their games as well. I think all the companies have their own markets that they like to hit, and I think that the Nintendo Switch, with a lot of the cool games that I talked about and some of the stuff that hasn't been announced yet, there's going to be so much content. Fans are going to be like, man, I have too much games to play. There's too many options for me. So I think it's going to be really good. So yes, the Nintendo Switch can compete with the next Xbox and PlayStation 5, but those systems are going to do great when they launch as well. So what are you guys' thoughts on all the different games that we discussed here? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Make sure you subscribe if you're someone new, like the video, share if you can, and drop a comment below, and we will see you guys for the next video. Peace.